Hi everyone, it's Olga from Olga's Flavor Factory coming to you with sourdough waffles. These are incredible, so good for a weekend treat to invite people over for brunch. They're amazing, so delicious, very easy to put together, and I love that they're so crisp on the outside, very fluffy and tender on the inside, and they taste amazing. The first step to making sourdough waffles is to make an overnight sponge. So we're gonna take our sourdough starter, a few other ingredients, mix them together, and we're gonna leave them at room temperature right in this bowl overnight. And it's gonna get all bubbly, it's gonna grow, and in the morning you wake up, you add a few other things to it, and you can make your waffles. So this is my sourdough starter. I usually keep it in the refrigerator, and then when I need to make something with it, I'll take it out, I'll feed it with some flour and water, and leave it at room temperature until it gets bubbly again, and then I use it. So for the waffles, you can take it right out of the refrigerator, you don't even have to feed it, and we're gonna need 1 cup of the sourdough starter. Of course, since these are sourdough waffles, a sourdough starter is a very important ingredient in this recipe. You're not going to be able to make this without a sourdough starter. However, if you don't have a sourdough starter, I do have a Belgian waffle recipe that is amazing too, and you don't need sourdough for that one, so you can make that. If you do want to delve into the world of sourdough and start experimenting with lots of amazing recipes using sourdough, if you have a friend, get some from them. I'm sure they're going to be happy to share. I actually got this from my friend Natasha, Momsish. I'm sure many of you know her already. We were visiting my sisters in Tennessee. She lives there too. So she shared some with me and we've been enjoying it ever since. But there's also recipes online how you can make your own sourdough starter. It's a lot longer process than borrowing it from a friend, but I'll share a few recipes, the ones that I used when I started working with sourdough a few years ago, and that worked well for me. So I'll leave a link for those recipes so you can make your own sourdough starter too. So for the overnight sponge, we need the sourdough starter, a little bit of sugar. You can also use honey instead if you'd prefer. And then we need some all-purpose flour, milk, and sour cream. We're gonna mix all of this together in this bowl, cover it up, and let it hang out overnight. I like to whisk it all together so that the milk and the sour cream are a smooth consistency. And lastly, we're gonna add the flour. Mix it all up. I made the same overnight starter yesterday, so it's here ready for us to make some waffles. And I wanted to show you guys the difference. So this one that I just made, it's very smooth, it's flat, and this is the amount. So I used the exact same ingredients, the exact same amounts, and this is the one from last night. See, it grew, it's very bubbly, and it has a very light texture. So we're gonna use this and we're gonna add some more ingredients to it and make our waffles. The rest of the ingredients that we need for the waffles are some eggs, oil, or you can use melted butter instead, some baking soda, and some salt. So I'm gonna mix up the eggs and the oil in a separate bowl first so they can be nice and smooth before adding it to the batter. And then we'll also add some baking soda and a little bit of salt. Mix it all up and we're ready to make waffles. Did you see that?
Yeah.
How cool is that? Now, even though we're mixing it up and deflating it, it's still staying very fluffy and bubbly. Heat up the waffle iron. I really like this one because you could do 2 waffles at the same time, which is awesome. Everybody's always very eager for those waffles to be done, so it helps when there are 2 at the same time going. I poured more oil into this little bowl, and I'm going to brush the iron with oil on both sides so that they get nice and crispy. They don't stick to the waffle iron. And then I like to use a portion scoop to scoop out the batter and put it in here. Slightly spread out the waffle batter over the iron and close it shut. To make sure that the waffles are cooked all the way through in the center, what you have to watch for is the steam coming out of the sides of the iron. If there's still a lot of steam coming out, that means it's still cooking. They're not cooked through all the way. Once the steam has subsided, it means they're cooked through in the center. And at that point, all you're looking for is the color that you want and how crispy you want them to be. While I'm making the waffles, I have the oven turned on to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, just slightly warm. And then I have a rack on this baking sheet, and then I can put the waffles on top. They stay nice and crispy and warm in the oven while I'm cooking the rest of them. And when I'm done making them and we're ready to eat, the waffles are all nice and warm and crispy. If you stack the waffles on top of each other, they are gonna get softer. So the key is to have some warm airflow going around them, and the rack helps with that a lot. We have had so much fun with this waffle recipe. So I've been testing it for a long time, trying different combinations of ingredients. So one weekend I would make one batch, another weekend we would try another combination of ingredients. And then when my sister came over a few months ago with her family, they were staying with us. I invited both of my brothers to come with their families for brunch one day, and I made 2 big giant bowls full of waffle batter. In the one, I did the buttermilk, in the other, sour cream and milk. And it was so easy to pinpoint the difference between the waffles when we could taste them side by side. So the waffles with the sour cream and milk were much more crisp. They were crisp when we cooked them, and they stayed crisp even after a while of them hanging out with the other waffles. The ones with the buttermilk, they were crisp when we took them out, but as soon as they cooled off, they were much softer, so they did not stay crisp. And then the taste difference between the two, the ones with the milk and the sour cream had a much more mild tang to them, just a little bit from the sourdough. And the ones with the buttermilk, you could really taste the tanginess in the buttermilk waffles with the sourdough. So I personally really preferred the sour cream and milk version because I love that they stay crisp, and I really like that it's not too tangy because the sourdough itself has a tang of its own, and then the sour cream isn't as tangy as buttermilk. It'll work with either one of those combinations, just depending on what you prefer and probably what you have in your refrigerator. Either way, everybody loved both versions. All of the waffles were absolutely demolished by all the kids and adults. It was super fun. So if you want to have a brunch with a lot of people, waffles are definitely a great idea.
That's a beauty.
It's a beauty. Look at how crisp it is. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear it in the video, but it's super crispy and crunchy, yummy. And it's so tender on the inside. Let me show you the center of it. We've already been trying these waffles, but look at that. It's got that spongy, very delicate and tender texture on the inside. It's so delicious. Go to Olga's Layer Factory to get the printable recipe for these sourdough waffles and give them a try. What do you think? Good? 2 thumbs up. Awesome. And here you go, Nathaniel. Since our last video, Nathaniel actually lost his 2 front teeth. So that's very exciting. What do you think, buddy?
Great.
It's great? You guys like it when we make waffles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Done. I love this. Very much.
What do you like about
The waffles. I love everything about it.